Hey, you have landed on Island Money 365. I am your host, Petra Ian Brown. I am so happy you are here. Travel with me as we hear migration and money stories of triumph, perseverance, and struggles of immigrants and their descendants, along with amazing resources that can help make your landing a little less bumpy. Hey, welcome back. We are on Island Money 365, and today we have the wonderful Chantell Kelly in the studio with us of Capital Ice Cream. I love ice cream, I don't know about y'all, but I love ice cream a lot. So, Chantell, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
So, Chantell, tell me, please, ice cream. How did you get into ice cream?
Well, of course, just like everyone else, I love ice cream, have always loved ice cream, right? My husband and I, we were looking into doing a business venture for quite some time. And our neighborhood, we don't have a lot of ice cream shops as options. So after I had kids, I really wanted to do something that they can inspire them and really have something to look forward to. And as they grow up, be proud of us, have something of our own in our neighborhood that they could walk by and be proud of. That's my mom and my dad's shop. Fortunately, I should say, I've sort of taken the lead on the ice cream shop. So it's been a really exciting experience to kind of see it all come together. And the last 6 years have been, it's had its ups and downs, but definitely worth it.
So when you say ups and downs, what are you talking about, Chantel? We all know. Okay, let's back up a little bit. So we all, us entrepreneurs, we have so many ideas, right? Our brains are always going with the creative minds. So how did you get here? I guess, what's the backstory to that? How did you get to saying, yes, I understand, you wanted to start a venture, but what was your life before ice cream?
So I actually went to school for marketing and advertising. So with this hope and dream to one day have this great big advertising job where I'd be advertising cereal and cool stuff, right? But when I graduated, I actually I got a job in a marketing or advertising department for financial services. So as you can imagine, that wasn't the original dream to market financial services. Obviously, with your expertise, you can only do so much and be so creative with that in that space. So that was always a dream of mine. I pursued that. And then I actually went back to graduate school after I graduated, and I did some experience in the advertising field and financial services. And I went to school for communications, actually. And I got my graduate degree at the University of Hartford. And during that time, I did a dual program with Boston University. And I did some advertising. I went to actually an internship for MTV and for The Bold and the Beautiful. And so I was doing that for a while. And I'll get more into my family's from New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans originally, Louisiana. And so Hurricane Katrina happened. Unfortunately, they were relocated to Connecticut and all parts of the world. So kind of was a challenging time for my family. So I moved back to Connecticut and was transferred to MTV in New York. So I was traveling 4:00 in the morning, hustling. I had a dream, right? So I was chasing this dream back and forth. All of that to say that all of those things that I experienced, working hard, sacrificing, it gave me kind of that drive and motivation that I still need for today, right? So came back here, eventually worked at an advertising agency here in Connecticut. It was actually financial services again.
We're meant to be together, okay? Ice cream and financial services. Let's get together.
I was an account executive there. They were an amazing company, did great work. But during that time, I had reflected on some things that, I was looking to start a family and I wanted to have more of a career that I could have more of a structured schedule. And I also had some experience being a nanny for a small business owner. So all of this comes together, right? Eventually, I had some experience. And during that time, I knew that I loved working with children. So I was a bit inspired by that. And I looked into Montessori teaching and I fell in love with it. I just love that approach, that taking care of children, teaching them just from the inside out, right? Not just the educational piece, but really helping them to grow up to be productive and great citizens. And so I really enjoyed that. So I actually eventually moved to teaching, and I was teaching at the same school for 12 years. But there was still something burning inside of me, like that creative part. Like I love teaching. I love my students and my parents, and the staff that I work with was like family to me, essentially. But again, just something was burning inside of me, that creative piece that I really needed to explore more. And I couldn't figure out how I was going to do that, but I knew eventually that it would have to come out. Going back to how we got here, of course, my love of ice cream, we started making ice cream at home at first. So playing with flavors and just like as a hobby. And one day we were walking down the street near where our ice cream is, our ice cream shop, excuse me. And we thought about all the times we had to drive far out to get ice cream because there was nothing local in the area for ice cream. It's like, why do our kids and the kids in the neighborhood have to travel so far to get a sweet treat and go to a special place, a nice place that they could be proud of? And so that started really, lighting a fire under us. And of course, in my marketing and advertising background, my ideas and my brain started to just go crazy. Like, we have to figure this out. And things just started to work out when the space became available. And we're like, you know what? I have to go for it. I have to try it. Like, this brings everything that I've done together, right? The marketing, the advertising, working with children, obviously. And a lot of my students come to the ice cream shop now, but also I wanted to do more than just have an ice cream shop. I wanted to have an ice cream shop that represented more than just ice cream. And I don't even mean products. I mean just in community outreach, really focusing on bringing families together, disconnecting from social media and really having that quality time that we all have sort of moved away from. And just, I'll tell you, that's my most precious and special times, is to see those moments take place between family members when they're just enjoying each other. Like back when I was a kid, And so finding other ways to do community events where mommy and me, daddy and me, grandma and me, just really, again, bringing home that idea that family, and this is the priority, right? We have to bring that back to the forefront because we're so distracted with everything else now.
Awesome. So I like that. So you're in your kitchen making ice creams, just coming up with flavors. You just kind of let it go. So how do you come up with your flavors, and what makes, yours different from others ice cream shops around? And you are correct, Chantell. I have to drive out a distance to get my ice cream. So it's so nice to have an ice cream shop in my backyard. But yes, how do you come up with your flavors?
Actually, just in the beginning, just having fun, just thinking of all the things I love and just throwing it in, in the container, in the machine, just enjoying it. So one of the challenges that we had in starting the business was the space we found was a bit limited. So we were unable to make our own ice cream. So it was very important for me to find a vendor that I could work closely with that would really honor my my wishes in terms of flavors and adding new things and being open to different ideas. And so I partnered with another small business, local, because it was important to me to stay local. And be able to have fresh ice cream that was delivered, within days of me actually serving it. So that's been a great partnership. And, over time has really become a great opportunity for me to continue doing what I love, but in a way that is realistic for me at this time, given the space that I have.
Nice. Okay. So I didn't even know that was an option for ice cream shops too. You still want to create your own flavors, but you have someone else that can do that for you. So you can basically inspire yourself from that function.
I literally talked to our vendor today, and I asked him, I was like, okay, we're thinking about vegan flavors, right? And I'm like, okay, what do you have? Like, what are you doing now? He's like, tell me what you want. What do you envision? What kind of vegan? I'm like, whoo, like my mind is going crazy. Now I'm like, all these things I want to do with vegan ice cream. And so it's great to be able to have that kind of partnership.
So yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because especially for my family, ice cream for us has always been a family event, right? I bring the boys out and it's just our time to just unwind. My kids get ice cream all over their face. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and the 4-year-old, the ice cream is melting. And it's just a joy just seeing him sitting there, a puddle mess. Well, we're just having a conversation, looking up, in the sky. He's making a cloud shape. It's just a great experience. But the problem I always have, my eldest son, my older son, cannot have dairy. So we always have to get him like some kind of icy. And I always feel bad. I'm like, oh, come on, we're out for ice cream. And he's like always the odd person out, because there's nothing. It's either you go to a vegan ice cream shop or a regular ice cream shop. There's nobody that really combines it. So I'm very excited that you are doing this. So can we talk about that? about how you're capturing the flavors of the community, because you have grape nut ice cream, you have rum and raisin ice cream for us islanders, right? So you're capturing the community, and, Hartford has a huge island population. And then now you're capturing those individuals that can't have, the dairy. So please tell me, how did you think that through? Or it was that, was that something that was intentional?
So a couple of things. So knowing the market has changed and the desires of, people, the needs are changing, right? And being able to accommodate that and move with that as it goes along. So it's very important for us to offer vegan options as a part of the lineup, and even more and more each year. Even the vendor that I work with, he wasn't really doing a lot of vegan flavors to begin with. And I'm like, we have to do more of this. And he has more flavors than he's ever had, because he's realizing the importance in being able to cater to a variety of an audience and making sure that you have something to be able to offer everyone that comes in. No one should be left out, right? Especially when it comes to, coming to have ice cream is like you said, a family event. It's a treat. It's something that people look forward to. And so you want to make sure you have something that meets the needs for everyone. So we definitely have adjusted and adapted as time has gone on, and made sure that we've done that. As far as, we'll have sorbet, because sometimes people just want something lighter. This year we're introducing smoothies, because sometimes people will come in with their friend who wants ice cream, and the other friend's like, I've had too much, I want something different, So again, having something to cater to a variety of different tastes and needs, because some people don't have the choice, and we don't want them to feel, they have to sit aside and just have something that they really don't even want to enjoy. Because it's not just about offering something vegan just to have it on the menu, but really being intentional about, does it taste good? So I can have dairy, but I need to be able to taste that dairy ice cream and say, this is something I would want to eat. Like it still tastes quality and good. It's very important to us, because our ice cream is the highest quality content. It's premium ice cream. And we don't want to shortchange our vegan options, our non-dairy options, and have it be any less of value and be just as delicious as our regular ice cream.
Thank you. That means the world to me. Honestly, that was one of the big pluses for me. I'm like, yes, please, thank you. And my son will let you know. He's like, Mommy, no, we're not coming back here.
and this is the thing too. One of the things that I really appreciate is feedback. It's one thing to go on Yelp or somewhere and say, oh, this was awful, or this, any other. Like, I am the business owner that really wants to know what you want to see, what's not working for you. If you have an idea, certainly is something that I can consider. I will definitely implement it if I can. I want to know, we've been around for 6 years, but there's so much to learn. I'm a lifelong learner, right? And so I want to make sure that I'm giving my visitors, my guests, actually, to be honest with you, I call my customers family, my ice cream family, right? Because that's the vibe that I want to create in my ice cream shop. One that people feel welcome all the time. They don't feel just like a number or a dollar. They really feel like they're valued, and that we really build a connection, a community connection in every way that we can. And that means hearing their needs and their voice. What do they want to see more of?
Awesome. So what is something about ice cream, or, some information or some facts that a regular person like me who just come and enjoy the treat and leave would not know? At some fun fact.
Well, I would just say, for me, the thing that I didn't realize was, growing up, I would have ice cream from anywhere. Ice cream is what I thought. Like, it's, it's good. I didn't realize that the butterfat content really made a difference in terms of, like, you may go to one place and the butterfat content is 10% and then ours is 16%. How it really enriches those flavors and brings them out that much more, and the enjoyment of it. Now I'm a little picky with my ice cream. Like, before, like, it's not that I'm not listen, I'm not going to turn any ice cream away, right? Because I'm just love ice cream. But I say that when we close for the season, I'm a little picky about what ice cream I eat, and I will go months. Or actually, I'll be honest, I make a stash, and I try to make it last as long as I can while we're closed. I'm a little picky about my ice cream.
Chantel, have you become an ice cream snob, Chantel?
I was trying not to say that. I was going to say, yeah. You called me out. That's right. Okay, I own it.
It's okay. You have your high standards, and that's okay. That's okay.
Once you get Capital Ice Cream, you don't go back. I'm sorry.
There you go. There you go. So true. So what are some things that you're doing? Cause we're talking about entrepreneurship today, honestly. And, we met at several events. I'm always going around town as entrepreneurs around the area. We see each other, right? We see each other all the time at different events. And entrepreneurship it can be a challenge, and especially depending on what industry you're in. So what are some things that you're doing to grow the business and gain visibility? Because ice cream can be seasonal. Well, it is a seasonal business. Some people try to make it year round by putting it with some kind of a restaurant or something like that. But what are you doing to gain visibility and keep it going even in your off season?
Well, for us, we did not have indoor seating for the last 6 years. So we just renovated our shop, which we're super excited about because now we're going to be allowing for indoor seating, which changes the game completely for us because now people can enjoy a sweet treat in any weather condition. And then as the colder months come upon us, people who love ice cream, they will still venture out. I literally had, during last 4th of July, it was flooded on our street and we still had people coming in, which let me just say I appreciate so much. And they were standing in our little tiny lobby with no indoor seating. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the people who have supported us over the last 6 years. It's like we're the little place in Hartford that could, you know what I mean? Like we have the big heart and big hopes and big dreams and people have really supported us through that. And so that's really exciting to know that now we're going to be able to offer them even more. And it's not your typical ice cream shop. Like I'm excited for everyone to see the space that we've created and just the feeling. I want people to know that we really, really value them choosing us as their ice cream home and that when they leave us, they not only enjoyed their ice cream, but they enjoyed their experience. So when we talk about challenges, I would say one of the things I'm really working hard on now is building a team that really can carry on the company culture, which I'm trying to create, is that one that's positive, one that's helpful, hopeful, loving, welcoming, all these positive attributes that I want to carry on even when I'm not in the space. I want people to really feel like they are appreciated because you can go anywhere for ice cream, right? But I want you to be able to feel like, you know what? This place really makes me feel good. I want it to feel like when you're a child and or an adult, you go to Disney World and you're like, I just feel good here, or whatever place. It may not be Disney World for you. It may be your grandma's kitchen. It might be that space that makes you always feel good. And even if you spend 5 minutes or an hour there, you're like, I want to come back here, And so the challenge for me right now is really building that team that will carry on that vibe, if you will, even when I'm not there, right?
So as this is island money, right? I have to ask, let's get into the money part of it. Is ice cream business a lucrative business or is like, is it cash flowing? Is it money, more money? No, seriously, is it a lucrative business or is you just have to have a passion for it?
The truth will set you free is what they say, right? So here we go. You know what? It's a challenge, obviously, because we are in Connecticut and it's cold here a lot, right? So I've had to find other ways to sort of balance that out. And that's in building partnerships with local businesses so that I would have some catering to kind of carry me through those tougher times where I know that's money that's going to be consistent. Partnership with the local park where I'm at the park every week, just building a brand and really get my name out there. Because one of the challenges I've found is that a lot of people don't know we exist. And because I don't have the funding to support a real advertising campaign, I rely, solely on social media for advertising, which can be limiting, right? If you don't pay X amount of dollars, you're only going to reach so many people. Like people just don't see your things. And so, it's challenging that way, being able to bring that awareness and not having the funding to be able to do that. Do I see a bright future? Absolutely, especially having this indoor space. And I feel like things get better and better each year. And because also I get smart. I have conversations with people like you, kind conversations that really help me to continue to grow and learn. And I feel like every year I learn something that makes the business a little bit better. It's not easy, but
that's awesome. So you do catering. So, when I found that out, I was like, that's a great idea, right? Business around here always doing some kind of building with employees or putting some kind of function on. I just went to the women lunching YWCA recently, which is another great organization, by the way. And, I know they did serve dessert, but hey, you could be an option. So, people need to think outside the box. I like to say, just make yourself known. Say, hey, Chantell, Kelly, or Capital Ice Cream, I'm catering for your needs. Let's go free commercial for you, Kelly. Miss Kelly. All right. So, when you started the business, did you get a mentor before you jumpstart into business? Or you just like, I've been thinking about this for a while, I'm just going to start. And then as I go along, I just get what I need.
I did not have a mentor, but that would be something I would definitely advise anyone who's thinking of doing it. I mean, sometimes when the opportunity arises, in my case, I needed to jump on the space. So it's sort of like jump in and figure it out as I go, and to be honest with you, that's what I've been doing all along is like figuring things out. So, researching online. And at some point though, in like, I think my second or third year, I did join a mentorship program. And so that was helpful to me. And then I've kind of continued as time has gone on to reach out and become more open, when you're sometimes as a small business owner. And I think people can understand this. If you're a small business owner, you tend to take on all these different roles. You're juggling everything. You're every part of the job. There's no support system like in a real solid way, because at the end of the day, you have to make sure that things are getting done. And so with that said, sometimes it's hard to really focus on the things that you really should be focusing on to help the big picture, so that you're not missing those important things that's going to really help you grow. And so we have to kind of really take that time to step back and say, I know all of this all this noise, right? All this is happening, but I got to get back to the nuts and bolts, the basics, for me to really see a change. And so that's what I kind of had a rude awakening. Like, okay, it's been crazy for years now. Like, it's time for you to check in with your business and figure out, like, understand your money. Understand what, like, your cash flow. How is this happening? Are you spending too much money on this? So that's why I'm kind of going back to the basics right now and reaching out to different people to kind of support me in that.
That's awesome. In that same vein, what are some of the struggles as a business owner that surprised you?
I would say for me personally, it's pricing. I wouldn't say it surprised me, but I feel like it's something that I constantly struggle with. Because being in a community where you want to make sure that you're not outpricing yourself out of the market, you want to be able to offer product to everyone, because that's my, it's my heart's mission to be able to bring joy to everyone through ice cream and the experience. But being realistic about like, what can I, especially having premium ice cream, like what's that balance, right? So that's something I constantly fight with myself with, like, my vendors' prices are going up, but I can't go up. You know what I mean? So that's constantly happening where I have to find that balance. So some of the things that I've tried to do is I started a kindness cone program whereby guests can purchase cones, like a pay it forward kind of thing for other guests. And then we sell it at a discounted price and we pay the difference. My goal is to never turn anybody away from ice. I mean, that's awful. If I have sometime, I remember a couple of times in the beginning, like kids would just peek in and they'd ask me for water. And I know they didn't. I mean, of course they don't want water. They want ice cream, and of course I'm gonna give them ice cream, right? You know what I mean? That's just cruel. And so I want to be able to do more things like that. And so finding that balance between like being cautious or helpful to my market and my audience, but at the same time making enough money to be able to survive.
That's a good point, because I used to go, before you came along, I used to go to a farm for ice cream. And then obviously, because they're the only ones, because not a lot of people have grape nut ice cream and rum and raisin, right? Not a lot of people carry it.
We have to talk about that rum, raisin, and grape nut. That's the good stuff.
I know.
I get in big trouble if I don't have it, by the way. I'm in big trouble.
You would. In Hartford, you better have that.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? I ran out of something one time and I was just like, I'm going to go hide in the storage room because they're going to give me the business.
I can hear it. Wait, so is that, before I go to my story, are those your top seller, one of your top seller, the grape nut and the rum and raisin?
Absolutely, because the people that come for grape nut and rum raisin, it's non-negotiable. That's it. That's all I'm having. That's it. And also the people who don't know about rum raisin and grape nut, they're willing to try it and then they become hooked. And so it's like, that's their top choice. So I definitely have that front and center. My husband is Jamaican, so it's non-negotiable. My whole side of the family from Jamaica, no, you have to. That's more important than vanilla, strawberry, chocolate. Like, it's a staple in this place, okay?
I'm telling you, it's so true. I don't look at the other menu. Once I know there's grape nut and Roman raisin, I don't look at the menu. There's nothing else I'm going to order, right? And it's Islanders, you need to do better. You need to venture out a little bit. Try a little vanilla. Try a little strawberry.
I'm going to send them to you. You tell them that. I'm not telling you.
I know, because I'm not going to do it. I'm just talking. I am not going to go buy no vanilla ice cream and no strawberry ice cream. I'm coming in for my grape nut and my Roman raisin. I'm going for my pint and, sometime quart, and I'm gone.
I know you.
So go back to my story. So I was going to this place and the price kept going crazy. I'm like they priced me out, So I'm happy that you're trying to find that balance. Yes, if the price of the product is going up, you got to find a way to increase your price, but not so crazy that I don't know how to do that. Not so crazy that, you outprice the customers that are coming in, definitely. So, but, we'll work with that. We work through that. So what are some functions of the business that you wish to fire yourself from? I know I wish to fire myself from a lot of things, but what are some functions of the business you want to fire yourself from?
Okay, like the one thing I want to fire myself is like figuring out the financial piece. Like, I'm like always just trying to figure out how to, make the money make sense, right? And doing it on my own most of the time. And so that I want to fire myself from social media, but I also love connecting with my my customers. I love that, and I love the creativity part behind that. And so as much as I want to fire myself, I'm not sure how well I'll share with somebody else to do it for me, because it's important, just like I was saying about employees carrying my voice or carrying my vision. The same thing, I want my social media to have my voice as well, and that is again connect. I don't want to be like a cookie cutter ice cream shop. I want to know when you told me that you got that new job, when you come back in, I want you to tell me how's it going? I remember that. I want to get to know you. You know what I mean? So that's a hard one. I want to fire myself because I'm exhausted with it, but I'm also addicted to it because I love, the creative piece and being able to connect with my audience.
Yeah. It's what entrepreneurs do. It's a conflicting life we're living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what would you consider your biggest success or failure so far? You know what? I don't even consider them success. As entrepreneurs, I don't even consider them success or failures. Honestly, let's change that to biggest success and learning moments. Let's do that, because I don't think we have failures. I think we just figure something that doesn't work and we just got to pivot, right?
Right. I would say learning a lot about trying to figure out, I hate to keep harping on pricing, but trying to, again, finding that balance and making sure that, people still feel like it's worth it, and trying to figure out how to, again, I take it so personal when people get upset about anything when it comes to the ice cream shop. Like, if they come in and, for me, customer service is everything. Like, you could order a banana split or a rum raisin or grape nut, and I mess up your scoop, right? And you're like, oh, that didn't work out, right? And so you're thinking, I'm not coming, I'll give you another shot at that scoop. You can make a mistake on that, but I should never hear, oh, the service wasn't good or someone wasn't kind. Like, that's non-negotiable for me. So it's kind of learning how to make sure that my staff understands how important that is and because I've heard one day something like you're only as good as your leader or something along those lines. So I had to kind of take a hard look at myself and making sure that I'm communicating the things that I need to communicate so they can learn and they can grow, because a lot of these are young people, right? And so I want them to leave Capital Ice Cream, not with just learning how to scoop ice cream, but to really kind of practice who they want to be for the rest of their lives. Like, really grow and really leave feeling like, you know what? I really learned a lot in that experience, not just business skills, personal development, and all those things, right? And so in terms of learning lessons, just kind of taking a step back and recognizing that I need to take the time to properly train and all those things, right? And so as far as successes, I'm excited, or I'm about just my ability to bring people together and the relationships that I've built. Like, I feel like when people don't come into the shop for a while, like I miss them. You know what I mean? Like I like, when I see them, like, oh my gosh, like, where have you been? I love that we've been around long enough where we've had young people who were children when they started coming in. Now they're applying for jobs, and I'm actually hired just one recently where she used to come when she was, a little girl, and now she's asking for a job, and it just, so I'm really just proud of the community that we've built, that as I'm getting the shop ready for this season, people are knocking on the door like, when are you opening? When are you opening? So that really gets me pumped and ready to open. Excited to know that people are waiting.
Yay. I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. So what advice would you give to someone then that, is thinking about embarking on entrepreneurship or taking this crazy journey that we love, of roller coaster ups and down and, the headaches, but yet the enjoyment of it all?
Well, I would say first things first, no matter how exciting the job or the opportunity is, health is wealth. Take care of yourself. No matter what that looks like for you, if it's 5 minutes a day or an hour a week, whatever that looks like for you, make yourself and your health a priority. Because trust me from experience, I've did it the opposite way and didn't work out for me. So I would say that's the first thing. Because guess what? If you remember that if you're well, you have more to give, not only to yourself, but your family and to your guests or your clients and whoever it is you're working with. What is the saying about pouring from your cup? If you have nothing to pour, then it's going to reflect in everything that you do. So you're going to be better for it. So even though you feel like you don't have time, you're going to lose so much more if you don't start with that first, right? No matter how great the opportunity is before you, do your research. Look it up. Ask people. Don't be afraid to. A lot of things I carried on my shoulders for years. I didn't ask for help. I just was like, I'm going to figure this out. I wasn't as vulnerable as I needed to be. Be as vulnerable as you need to be in order to get the knowledge you need to succeed. And succeeding doesn't mean like you're going to, make $1 million. Succeeding is personal to everybody, right? So it's like, what does that succeeding look like for you? And check in with yourself. Like, this life is, unpredictable. So we have to be happy and healthy, and we have to do those things to make sure that we're checking in on a regular basis so that we have.
I like that, Chantel. That is so true. I like that. I like that. I'm going to take that. But no, I know I learned that, and I read this book, and I'm not getting any money from this. There's no advertisement here, but Atomic Habits and by James Clear. And I read that book, and it was a life changer for me. And I'm like, oh, okay. And taking care of yourself, like usually I was a burn the oil, get up early in the morning and go to bed late at night because, I had a full-time job. Have a full-time job. I shouldn't say had. Have a full-time job. I have my business, my financial coaching business. And, I'm doing my podcast. And these are things that I love. But I'm like, wait a minute. I need rest, because I have 2 little boys who are full of energy and they just want to play with mommy, right? And daddy, but they want their mommy time too. And my husband wants his wife time too. So, and I need my time too. So I had to put some things in place. And I think it's very important that we have some structure and put things in place to make sure that you are operating at your best self. So I think that was great advice. Thank you for that. All right. So, Chantel, with business, right? Especially when you're just starting out, you tend to reinvest a lot of your money that you make back into the business because you have your vision of growth and where you want to go and in terms of scaling. So when did you, let's go back. How did you go about raising capital for yourself? And then when did you start paying yourself, if you are yet?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I have a part-time job. I'm still on my journey, and I want to be transparent about that because I want, people to know that sometimes you have to do what you have to do till you make it to where you're trying to go, right? So, I had savings at the time, because I had left a career behind and family that supported me as well. And so that's how I originally raised capital. Now, that said, it took me forever to open the ice cream shop because I was literally buying one thing at a time. I bought a dipping cabinet. That couple months passed. Bought a couple months, you know what I mean? It was like, it took a lot of time to finally pull it together from my savings. And obviously I couldn't deplete myself because I had my family, I have 3 children. So I had to be smart about that. At the time when I first opened, I was teaching full time. My babies were 2, 4, and 6. And then I had the ice cream shop. So I was juggling all three, but I had to keep the full-time job to be able to afford to have the ice cream shop. So it was like a rat race, it really, really was. So I had to continue to do that. And as far as the financing, continuing to try to research grants when COVID-19 happened. Unfortunately, that was a tough time for us all. We had to pivot our business. We had to close for a couple months. That was really hard. But, obviously with government assistance programs, that sort of helped us through that transition for a little bit. And from that point on, it's been sort of just, I'm always applying for grants, hoping for the best, like trying to get some kind of support or in things like that. I'm still growing in my financial journey when it comes to the business. I have not paid myself consistently, to be honest with you. I've given myself little stipends to compensate me for my time. But my hope is this year and the coming years that's going to get better and better. So.
Oh, don't worry, Chantel. Now you know Petra, so we're going to work on that finance. I'm going to get you in. I'm going to get it straight for you. I'm going to help you get it all in line and in order. Once it comes past, I'm like, I got you. Don't worry about it. So what are some of the operational costs that you have to think twice about, and that caught you off guard? Because that's sometimes we just don't think about it. We think about the good stuff, right? And how you're going to be successful as entrepreneurs. We think about the bright, shining lights and you seeing yourself on top of the world, having franchises, or, we have our imagination. When it comes down to reality and in the nitty gritty of the day to day, what are some of the operational costs that, you make you think like, my goodness, or just caught you off guard a little bit?
I would say insurance. Like, it's not, when I first opened the business, like, I didn't think about insurance. Like, you have to have, of course you have to have insurance, but I wasn't thinking about that. And I tell you, no matter how many times I pay it for over the last couple of years, like, I'm always like, oh, insurance. It's super important. Also, I would say surprising repair costs. Like, one of my freezers is broken. I didn't expect that I'm going to have to come up with $500. Like, it's unexpected because it should be to some extent expected because you have all these pieces of equipment. At the same time, I'm always like, no, that wasn't in my budget. Planning for that. And every time like there's a win, like you got this great job, right? And you're like, oh, I'm going to get ahead or at least get on track. And then something breaks and you're like, oh, I guess that's where that money's going. So, you have to, in planning, when I said, as an entrepreneur or future entrepreneur, when I say do your research, like consider all those things, like so that you have a better plan. Like it's hard when you just jump into it and you're figuring it out as you go. It makes it harder. So having a financial plan and really kind of looking at your numbers in advance of that to the best of your ability, because some things you just won't know until you experience it, right? But just having general knowledge will be,
Yeah, do your research. Go talk to other shop owners if you're going to whatever business you're going into. And I tell my clients who come to me, because a lot of clients come to me because they want to start a business or they want to make sure their personal finances is okay, so they're not derailing their family's financial stability as they're starting their business. I say, okay, go do your research. Go talk to other shop owners. Go talk to people in the industry. See what they're spending. See what their costs are, and get a benchmark to where you need to be or start thinking about. So I'm glad you say that. Absolutely. We need insurance. I even, for my own personal financial coaching business, I have liability insurance too. So what does your self-talk sound like, as you're in motion, as you're trying to figure things out? Because that can be detrimental or inspiring.
I would say like the first thing that comes to mind, I've always been a person that I don't like to live with regrets. I'd rather try something and it's a challenge or it doesn't work out, but I don't like to live with regrets. So I have to like try it, do my best, put all my effort in terms of what I can do. And if it doesn't work out, then I say, okay, maybe that wasn't the path for me, but I need to leave confidently knowing that I did my best. So every day as I approach whether it's dealing with my staff members or just working at the shop, just saying, okay, did you do your best? So no matter what the scenario is, whether it was a customer that wasn't super happy about something or something didn't work out with a business opportunity, just knowing that I did my best. Like I put my best foot forward. And so I didn't leave anything left on the table, right? I just really put my best foot forward. So that encourages me, like, okay, you can try this again tomorrow. If it didn't work out, I'll try something different. And also just thinking that, at the end of the day, like if nothing else, I am inspiring my children, right? No one in my family has ever owned a business before. We take it for granted often, but I realize when my children say things like, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to own a this or this. And I'm like, that's not even something I thought that it was even possible when I was a child. And I hear them say that, or they tell somebody, I can hear like little conversations with a friend. And I'm like,
oh,
you know what I mean? Like it's so, but that's also extended to like children in our community, see people that look like them that owns a shop and they say, oh, or a business and say, oh, maybe I could do that one day. And really kind of that when you talk about self-talk or motivation, that's my motivation every day, to kind of know that my purpose is bigger than the money. The money, of course, is important because I need it to survive. But, the teacher in me, I always want to be of service. And so I knew when I left teaching, I was going to have to find another way to fulfill that need to be of service. And so I'm trying to find every way that I can still achieve that. And I trust the spiritual part of me, trust in my core. If I'm operating from a genuine space and I'm doing the best that I can, then I can't lose. No matter what, it might not look like what I thought it was going to look like, but eventually it will unfold just the way that it was meant to be, for me in my life.
Thank you. And that's your way of giving back? Would you consider that's your way of giving back?
We actually do a couple things besides the kindness cone. We also do community events where we sponsor some spots where we have, children and families come in, and I do reading with them. I do dance parties and just like have a good time and bring them all together. We have all these great times and memories we've created together. My mission is, once we have the indoor space all set, is to do more things like tutoring for reading, teaching sight word, just fun things where I can still be of service and really do more things like that. And of course, when we work with like fundraisers, we contribute to, and we're going to be working with CCMC on one of their
nice.
Yeah, children's they've been awesome to my family. My son has epilepsy, so we spent more time there than I wanted to. And so we're just really grateful for them. And so if we, do something with them, we're of course going to do it at a discount because we want to be able to give back in some way. So, little opportunities like that as they come along.
That is awesome. That is amazing. So I know, you mentioned it earlier that your husband is an islander. So let's talk about your island connection, because this is Island 10365, and I know you migrated from Louisiana. So how did you how are you merging those two cultures?
It's actually pretty fun. Like when I first met my husband and I would go to his family events, I didn't understand a word that was being said. Between my Southern dialect and his his accent, it was just fun. It was funny. Like he's like, "What are you saying?" And I'm like, "What are they saying?" Like at every event, I'm looking like for a translator. And we've been together like 25 years now, some crazy number like that. So it's so funny now. Like, I'll just kind of throw out a word, and my in-laws are like his aunts, and they're like, "Ooh, like what you?" It's so funny, and now I understand what they're saying in the house. The food, like our grandfather now would have me eat like ackee and sawfish and all these things that before I was like, what is this? Now I just love it. My kids just like, they want a patty every day. I'm like, you can't eat patties every day, or just every kind of, it was funny. My son was at school the other day, and for Easter, his teacher's like, well, you must be having bun and cheese for Easter, huh? You having bun and cheese? I'm like, oh, I got to write that down, make sure I have that. So I do want to get better with cooking and trying new dishes that I can do at home. But right now, we're doing a pretty good job of eating out at Jamaican restaurants and eating at other family members' homes. So looking to get back to Jamaica to visit so my kids can see, where their father came from and really make that connection solid. So
that's good. Well, don't worry if you're not able to cook right now, Chantel. Jamaicans always have put more food on the stove than they need in the household. So that's awesome. Oh, so I'm glad that you like the food. So have you been to Jamaica though? Have you ever been to Jamaica or not yet?
Yeah, I have. Many years ago I did go though. Yeah, so I got to see. So now my kids are getting older, I'd like to bring them so they can see, because it was really, really nice we went, obviously we're in the tourist spot, but then we got to go to like the real neighborhoods and really visit people, and and it was interesting to see like another culture and how they live, and just kind of really appreciation for like, the things that they are still, they're so different in some ways from here, and just kind of like bring you back to that world of simplicity, like, and people are still happy, and you're like, oh, you don't need all of these things to be happy,
No, you don't. No, you don't. That's what I teach my clients. No, you don't. If you want it, that's okay, but you really don't need it. So what about your culture, though? Your background in Louisiana? I mean, you guys have a lot of great foods. I went down there for an event called ThinkOn, and I mean, I was in my glory. I was just eating. So, do you bring the kids back home and teach them that culture as well?
Yeah, definitely. We went to Mardi Gras last year, the kids, for the first time, and that was a blast. My parents and my siblings are still there, so I try to get home at least twice a year, but it's tough. Like, there's always some kind of food fest. There's a crawfish food fest, beignet food fest. There's a fest for anything you think of. There's a food fest.
You got to bring me next time for the crawfish. My husband loves crawfish. You got to bring me next time, Chantel.
Crawfish pie, crawfish cake, crawfish.
Yeah, crawfish cake, really?
It's unlimited. My poor sister, she's like, how am I going to get my life together here? There's always food everywhere. Like, good luck. There's no way I could survive living there. But I love to go home. Just like, wherever you're from, your roots, like, I have to touch the soil of my roots. I have to go home and just like breathe that air, remember where I came from. And you know what? I'll be honest, like, moving to Connecticut, like the first few years I was here, people would always say, like, what are you saying? What are you saying? So over time, I've had to become more clear in my language, my articulation, if you will. Boy, but when I get home, does that tongue get relaxed? And I am just...
Me too. I have the same issue. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
So what is one saying, something I ask my guests, what is one saying that your family always use, or something proverb they always say to you, growing up?
Let's see. That's a good one. I don't know if it's a saying, but my mother gave me some good advice that I always use even in business now. And she's like, no matter what it is, people, somebody asks you to do something or whatever it is, tell them you need a few minutes to think about it, like to really kind of process what they're asking you for or asking you about. And really kind of, because you want, whatever you do, you want it to be, the response to be a thoughtful one. You know what I mean? And really kind of, so that whatever you decide to do or whatever answer you give is one that you put some thought into it, rather than just being impulsive. And all, and bigger than that is, my mother used to always say, like, no matter what other people are doing or whatever people think, like, do good anyway. Do the right thing anyway. When no one's watching, do the right thing anyway. Do what you know is the right thing. And so I kind of like live like that. I think that just having that, I try to teach my children that, like, don't tell me what Tommy did or this one did. Like, what makes you feel good? What's the right thing to do in this situation? Like, that you can love.
I like that. Take some time to think about it. Don't just answer right away because you don't know what you're committing to. Make sure you can actually commit to it, right?
That has helped, and it's helped me so much, because the times when I haven't done that, whoo, there's some regrets.
Yeah, I'm going to do that too. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I think that's great advice, and that's a great place to end. So thank you so much for coming through on Island Money 365. Until next time, everyone, we have this wonderful Chantell Kelly with us. So where can they find you?
They can find us at 389 Capitol Avenue in Hartford, and also at capitalicecream.com. You can learn more about us there, or on Instagram and Facebook at Capital Ice Cream. That's CAPITAL Ice Cream. Love to see you.
Yay!
Thank you for having me.
Great ice cream, y'all. Absolutely great ice cream. So until next time, remember, this is Island Money 365, and keep your money irate. Wait, hold on there. My beautiful people, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell. We are here every second and fourth Sunday of the month. Also, the information for our guests can be found in the show notes. So what are you waiting for? Wanna subscribe?